Air travel became the primary mode of travel for so many sectors of society that it radically changed how those sectors functioned. One of those sectors is travel by world leaders who regularly meet face-to-face or visit a site where an international crisis is occurring. Networks of sports teams were able to expand, and due to the ease of travel between cities, university and private regional and national teams were able to connect rapidly. For example, U.S. Major League Baseball had been confined to cities in the industrial North Central and Northeast states, all within a day's rail travel from each other. Air travel enabled a rapid expansion to the south and west. The modern Olympics, to which many countries send hundreds of athletes, is enabled by air travel. Even more impactful on a global scale and on a daily basis has been overnight package delivery, made possible by airplanes and depended upon for daily world commerce. Even from its very beginnings, air travel deeply impacted and was impacted by political geography. Both world wars supplied pilots later used in commercial aircraft and supplied technical innovations that impacted world aviation. In 1919, the Paris Convention stipulated that each country controlled the airspace over its territory. In Europe, governments established new passenger airlines. In the United States, the government heavily subsidized the delivery of airmail, which hastened the first major U.S. passenger airlines and accelerated the velocity of the money supply, spurring world trade. Following the Cold War, the opening of Siberia to international flights permitted more efficient linkages between London and Tokyo, New York and Hong Kong, and Vancouver and Beijing. The 1944 Chicago Convention established geopolitical guidelines of international air operations, or air freedom rights. Today, hundreds of carefully negotiated bilateral air services agreements, or ASAs, are in place, specifying the airlines that can serve specific cities, equipment, and frequency. Some open skies agreements remove some of these restrictions. Alliances between airlines are common, which include booking systems, selling agreements, optimization of connections, city specialization, and fast reorganization of hubs, all of which are intertwined with geography. Air travel has negative impacts on the environment. Powered aircraft release pollutants into the atmosphere, including greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, or CO2. One of the targets of environmental awakening of the 1970s was the Concorde, which ushered in supersonic transport. Because of the pollution it generated at higher altitudes, see my entry on environmental movement. Despite improvements between 1960 and 2000 of 70% in fuel efficiency, air travel is still largely dependent on fossil fuels, their availability, their price, and their political implications. Vast tracts of impermeable surface accompany many of the world's over 41,000 airports, particularly those that became international hubs, increasing their size to accommodate larger aircraft and increased number of passengers. Land adjacent to airports is devoted to the transportation-related sectors, including rental car agencies, cargo transport, and superhighways. Air travel is also affected by the environment. For example, delays caused by volcanic eruptions, including that of April 2010, where one of Iceland's volcanoes erupted. Today's aircraft, except for the now defunct Concorde, are only about as fast as that was the Boeing 707 30 years ago. However, deregulation and privatization of the airline industry during the 1970s, along with an increasing number of low-cost airlines, increased fuel efficiency, ability to stay aloft longer, and an expanding global middle economic class has led to an ever-widening set of cities that airlines serve. In geographic terms, this has lowered the cost, or friction, of distance. One of its results is the fostering of economic globalization. Manufacturers, especially those producing microelectronics components, such as Intel, depend upon air transport to tie together their spatially disaggregated operations. See supply chain management in this book. Air travel has also affected the geography of disease. In 2014, much of the world's media was focused on the spread of the Ebola virus from West Africa to other parts of the world as a result of infected airline passengers. More common, however, is the regular transport of influenza and other bacteria and viruses, as well as seeds and other plant material that can inadvertently cause harm in a faraway country because it is carried, however inadvertently, by an airplane passenger.